Okay, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past is like my all-time favorite Zelda game. Part of that's probably nostalgia, part of it's just because I really think that this era of like Super Nintendo graphics, sound design, level design was pretty close to perfect. I know that the GBA kind of tried to ape the same thing a little bit. Sound chip wasn't quite as good. Anyway, I played Link to the Past a billion times. It was a cart that I owned as a kid that I played over and over and over. I one time got a 000 save file by leaving the game on all weekend and making sure I beat it, which is like not impressive for modern streamers and gamers, but when you're like 10 years old, that was kind of a big deal. So I'm looking forward to check out this randomizer. The only other randomizer experience I have is with Earthbound PK Hack way back in the day. If you type !seed, you can see my settings. I'll go ahead and post them here. Standard, Uncle Assured, which makes sure that I get a sword at the beginning of the game. No glitches. I've played this game a lot, but I don't know what all the glitches are. All dungeons, which means we have to beat every dungeon boss in order to be able to beat the game. Normal difficulty. The palette and music is randomized, and we have a custom Link sprite. I think that's everything. The service to set this up is super cool. They've got a really polished website. Big fan of it. It's kind of cool to think about. Randomizers seem to arise in games that are incredibly popular to speedrun, where you kind of get to the point where the speedrun is so optimized that you can't really compete anymore. And it's like, how can we continue to squeeze blood from this stone? And I think it's really cool that we're just now getting into this era of games that we're squeezing blood from these older titles. And I'm wondering what games are coming out now that we're going to have randomizer equivalents for in a decade or two. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Magic Cape can pass through the barrier. Okay. Dad says something different. I do like the palette swap, that's cool. Piece of heart in the first room, right on. I don't know anything. What's the on-screen item tracker? Is there like a way to show that or something? Someone have like a plugin that reads the ROM file. I guess I'll intentionally go the wrong way. I don't think there's any chests I can get at the beginning of the game, though. I'm not super clear on what all changes with the randomizer. And don't spoil this for me, because it'll be fun for me to figure it out. But I don't know if it's just like I can find literally any item anywhere, under any bush, any pot in the whole game. Cat's being bad, sorry. If it's just the boss chests, if it's just the dungeons, if certain zone entrances have changed. Checklist to keep track of what you found. Okay, no, that's fair. If this shows up on somebody's subblock again, I'll set that up. How many custom sprites did they make for Magus here? Hold up. Can I see the map sprite? I think I have to be in the overworld to see it. They had a sleeping Magus sprite, which is cool. Yep. No lantern for me. Now, if anyone wants to do... I know my wife was interested in putting this randomizer on her subblock, so I might come back for that reason. If you do want to add a randomizer and there's tools like that, like on-screen item trackers that are commonly used, just go ahead and let me know when you go to add it. Oh man, so I played Link to the Past a billion times. I think I've explored this entire castle once. I don't remember if there's just random ass chests that just contain rupees on the sides. It's kind of exciting. I actually get to explore this game for the first time. I have this mental map of which way I'm supposed to go on every single screen burned into my brain. So like this hallway over here, in the bottom right corner, I always go through the top right. So explore further and see what happens. So I think the way this is set up, it's impossible to soft lock, right? When I have it set to no glitches, I could adjust the algorithm in such a way that it checks and makes sure that it doesn't put something somewhere where I have to know a like glitch or exploit to be able to get to it. Probably means it's less random, more predictable. But I also imagine it's got to allow for some like weird interactions, like having what is it, the third dungeon in the Dark World, the Skull Forest or whatever. Like, you don't actually need the boss key. Because I think the boss key only opens the chest that gets you the fire rod. So I assume that, like, the boss key could actually spawn inside the chest. There's no reason why it wouldn't be able to. Couple obscurities get in places. Yeah, Magic Cape gets past the barrier. Is he talking about the Ganon barrier? I think they just tried to be like, we want to make a mode that doesn't require you to know how to completely break Link to the Past in order to be able to beat it. It mentioned something about sometimes you need to save and quit in order to be able to restart. Like, or get back to the light world. In case you don't find the magic mirror, because I guess it would not be random enough if you needed the magic mirror, and that's technically a thing that all players can do. Oh, really? Has that been true since forever, or is that only in this version 1.0 Japanese ROM? I have this cartridge, by the way. I picked it up in Japan. I guess the randomizer translates it into English, which is kind of cool. No dialogue from Zelda. Very cool. Huh. When you boot back in after saving and quitting, it asks you where you want to start. One of the options, I think, is a sanctuary. One is Link's house. What is... pushing against the wall. I like that he's like, his face is turning red when he's pushing horizontally. These are some pretty cool sprites. The other one I was considering was the Nest sprite, but give Chrono Trigger some love. Can't get the cape without the sword. Okay. Without breaking the game, I assume. So, I guess I probably should actually know this. Have only the big chests been shuffled? Or could I find like an important progression item in any random chest in the game? So I'm wondering if I should really focus on exploring the rest of this castle, or it's not that big of a deal. All chests are shuffled. Whew. Because I know this game really well, I do not know where all the chests are. Probably like 40% of them. Especially the rando ones that just give a couple rupees here and there. Well, I think you had to specifically ask for items that are like underneath pots and stuff to be randomly generated. And like enemies won't randomly drop important things. Look in the library might be different. Okay. Oh, there's a checklist for locations. That's kind of useful. I think the first 50 or so times I played this game, I didn't know how to use the lantern down here for some reason, because I don't think you actually need to use the lantern on any of the torches. Like, it just makes the room brighter, but you can totally make it through here with the light radius around Link. I'm trying to remember when the game first requires you to use the lamp. Like to equip it and press the button. Hey, Kai Mom, how you doing? I love this game. I love the soundtrack. Super classic. Hyrule Castle is probably my favorite, melody in all of Zelda. I got a bottle with a bee in it. Nice. I guess the exciting thing is that I got a bottle. Now, it recommended playing on easy. I'm actually playing on normal. I was trying to read what the difference was between normal and easy, and it sounds like it just, doubles the number of common upgrades. There's 8 bottles that generate, but in easy. But once you find 4 of them, the other ones just turn into rupees, which I think is kind of a good system. I did not turn that on, though, so it's very likely we won't find all the bottles or all the sword upgrades, or I think magic maybe was another one. It's Magus from Chrono Trigger. Oh, I'm sorry, I hope you feel better, Kai Mom. I actually have a pretty robust list of options for characters to play as. Sprites to switch to, I should say. So what other games have randomizers right now? There's, I know Dark Souls has one. I know about the Link to the Past / Super Metroid randomizer, which is kind of awesome. One of the first ones I knew about, I was super into the Earthbound community when I was a kid. It's on Starman.net back when it was still called Earthbound.net. Oh, I already have bombs in here, that's cool. I remember Tomato, the dude that translated Mother 3, the fan hack, put together an app called PK Hack that a lot of people used. I remember dorking around with it when I was 10 or 11 years old, maybe younger. Well, that's not terribly exciting. I guess having a bunch of rupees at the beginning is convenient. Hey, LitFX, how you doing? Resident Evil randomizer. Actually, the guy that made Earthbound, the guy that made Undertale, one of his first projects he put on the internet was made in PK Hack, the Earthbound Halloween hack. Pokemon did too. Earthbound was a really long time ago. PK Hack came out in it was before the year 2000, I'm pretty sure. I think I was still living in Illinois when it happened. But I guess that wasn't necessarily a randomizer. It was the ability to go in and have a friendly interface to modify a ROM to change sprites and dialogue and stuff like that. If they change the Switch locations. Hey, Sixgun, how you doing? So just all the dialogue gets skipped. Lame. Because you don't really appreciate how many chests in the game. Random chests have rupees in them. Right? We just started, and all I have so far is a bottle and a bomb. It's probably likely that you'll get bombs and arrows really early. Not that you can use the arrows. Oh, absolutely. Tomato has done that already with his Final Fantasy VI localization playthrough, where he was reading the game memory to automatically display the original Japanese text, the Super Nintendo Ted Woolsey translation, the GBA retranslation, and like a fan translation. So you'd be playing the game and you'd have all that displayed on the screen. I think the ones people use for this game, from people talking about it earlier, people just manually manage a checklist. Oh, and then also he had the Google Translate text to compare against. So like, maybe you shouldn't depend on Google Translate. Just some dude. This is Blindside. I had some fun with the text since this is the Japanese ROM, technically. Another bottle. Oh, interesting. Now, why did I not actually get to keep that bottle? Yeah, the Kakariko Village music. Each chest is gambling. I know, you get kind of excited every time. What's it gonna be? Oh, is it a sub-menu? Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, that's it. I've always just filled them with fairies. I don't think I've actually selected a bottle and Link to the Past to use its contents. Wrong hack for Chrono Trigger. Huh, that's cool. ROM hack for Chrono Trigger. Reads the music that's supposed to be playing. Oh, well, that's lucky. The Master Sword was secretly stored in a random rupee chest in Kakariko Village. I'm down. We're not even playing on easy. I think on easy you have a much higher chance of finding that. Yeah. I assume that even on normal mode, like, the swords are progression. It's that you find sword upgrade number 1, but like, or no, you find sword upgrade, but there are 3 instantiations of sword upgrade throughout the entire game, and you can run into any of them in whatever order. But it'll take you first to Master Sword, then to the Red Sword, and then the Gold Sword. Gold Sword. Please save us. Yeah, that's cool. Because it would be a bummer if you got, like, the best sword really early on, and then the other upgrades were irrelevant at that point. That makes sense they did it that way. Go see what's in the library, because I won't be able to get to it for a while unless if I luck out and get the Pegasus boots early. Nice. Remember there being a million chests in here. So, like, chests are the unit of excitement in this randomizer. They're the most exciting thing that you're looking forward to, and the thing that you should be exploring for. Bushes, enemies, bosses don't matter quite as much. A bombable wall in the well. Thank you. Oh yeah. Palette change is screwing with me. Maybe what's back here in the original game. Alright. At least it wasn't a really important thing. Hype caves. Yeah, probably just money. So people I know, like, do competitions and speedrun this. Like, how do you speedrun it? You just have certain chest hotspots that everyone knows to search first? I was about to ask. So does he just give you a random thing then, or does he always give you a heart container? He counts as a chest, I assume? Like Zora would count as a chest? That's cool. So chests, anyone that gives you a major item Oh. Pegasus boots, yeah. Yeah, that's what's interesting. Oh, he'll give me something random instead of the bug's net. Oh, cool, already. So the glove, I'm sure, is a progression also, that you have to get the silver glove to get the golden glove. The gloves let you pick up different colors of rocks. So the first glove lets you pick up light rocks. Golden glove lets you pick up heavy rocks. So I can already pick up the heaviest stuff in the game, which means I can already go to the Dark World. But I think there's a portal up here, right? Oh no, that's a hammer. Okay, there's definitely a couple spots, though, that are the heavy rocks early on. The Creeper Mars is here. What if they did a fresh retranslation? I used to farm this tree whenever I was trying to get the 500 coins for Zora when I was a kid. Just Pegasus boots, run into it over and over and over. Life, love, happiness? The question you should really ask is, was this generated by Stoops Aloo or Stoops Jet? You haven't found Quake yet, it's not your fault. I didn't even think about getting the magic medallion super early. Okay, so I can lift this thing already, for example. Or no, you have to Pegasus boots that, don't you? That's right. Don't have the hammer, so I can't go in through there. No, they've changed all the dialogue. It's my friend, help me find him. I remember it was actually a chest in the southwest corner. Oh, are like maps and compasses randomized also? Or are they handled differently? It's like shops don't change. It would be nice to put stuff in the shops though. Like have an important item just be in a shop. Someday I'll be in a high school band. Inside of the dungeon itself. Okay, that makes sense. Nope, it was just pots. Oh shit, I should have dumped next time I get a fairy or find a fairy fountain. So I imagine if you're like speedrunning this, finding the Pegasus boots early is a big deal. Let's see, what generator? Is it just like a rupee or something? Oh god, okay. That will help speed things up. At least it's not a progression item. These don't count, right? Good luck then. No, it's just a rupee game. Or maybe the piece of heart, like the unique item that you can win, is randomized. But there's a potentially infinite number of them, right? This one doesn't have a heart piece. Oh, you're guaranteed to win the randomized one. Okay, thank you. It's good to know. Yeah, the one in the same spot. I walled off my brother Leo. What a dingus. Did you come to my brother's room? Are we cool? I won't be able to pass this without the boots. You went the wrong way. Oh, okay. You can have this trash. Even if you don't have the glove. You come in like 14 seconds though, right? Open this guy. I'm trying to check all the bombable stuff that I remember. I'm pretty sure that's a Dark World portal once I get the hammer. And there's some caves over here that are probably worth checking out. Yeah, I kind of like the rush of what's in the chest, like... Similar to the feeling of a boss dropping loot in like a looter game like Diablo. It's the hype cave, there's a ton of chests in it. Nice. Fairy caves are randomized? Sure. Shops are not though, right? I wonder why they didn't do shops. Yeah, I guess you could put... Maybe they just wanted people to have access to healing and bombs and stuff. Or maybe it would make it too easy if every shop had 3 displayed items. It would be fun if they found a way to like make the fortune teller irrelevant. Like, code in some clues. You'd have to make like a unique description for every chest location in the game, I think. And then you'd have to like know what is currently blocking the most progress, and I assume the algorithm knows that already. Yeah, people have mentioned the Metroid one. That sounds really awesome. I don't know Super Metroid well enough to succeed in that one, I don't think. But it'd probably be just as lost as I was when we actually played Super Metroid, so maybe it wouldn't be that different in the end. Yeah, you switch between Zelda and Super Metroid every so often. Want something for free? Go earn the green pendant in Desert Palace and I'll give you something. Yeah, it's very crazy indeed. I was just really impressed with how like clean the interface was for setting up this save file. Oh, that's unfortunate. And this is a very polished subset of the community. This is one of those things like... I don't think that Valve or Blizzard are the same company that they were 10 or 15 years ago. But I feel like this would be their shit. Like, this would be a trend that they would want to jump on and make like a super polished version of this. A game that's built from the ground up to be randomized like this. That's not a roguelike. I guess it's... Those things are different, right? I've seen official products that are, especially indie products that are built from the ground up to like, allow for or anticipate or expect speedrunning and sequence breaking, because I know that's pretty popular in the community. But I can't think of anything that like focuses on randomization that's like this. It's not a roguelike. I love that sort of thing. When, like, developers create something and there are just it has characteristics that were not intended, just based on the rules they put together. I imagine there are some games that just wouldn't function very well when randomized. Maybe a chest on one of these bridges? I don't actually remember. Okay, yeah, they're just both dead ends. Progression algorithm must have been pretty fun to come up with. Like, what actually blocks what? What's a hard block versus a soft block? Drum's Mass doesn't really work as a randomizer. Just boss key, okay. So, dungeon-specific items all randomized within the dungeon itself only, right? Drum's Mass rando is underwhelming. Pick up there from another direction, right? I can't just drop down over here. Okay, I'm still checking. Key sanity where that isn't true. But does every instance of a boss key... I know that small keys carry over across the entire game, right? How do you know if you get a boss key which dungeon it's for? So I think there's a unique, like that bottom right corner slot along with the compass in the map only fill in when you're in that specific dungeon, right? Oh, okay, there's a pop-up telling you what it's for. That makes sense. I noticed one of the difficulty settings was to make the bubbles, if you use magic powder on them, it turns them into a bee. It's funny. Like a little UI change, possibly. That makes sense. Be musing. This is super fun so far. I'm way into this. This is the right game for me to try with, like this and Earthbound. Earthbound's randomizer doesn't really randomize much though. It just kind of changes the sprites. I think it changes the battles you can get into, so you can fight some really hard enemies early on. But it doesn't like change the way that you play through the game, if that makes sense. I like that they set it up so that there were settings for casual players. I've seen communities like this get too hardcore, where it's like, oh, everyone knows what all the wrong warp glitches, right? So adding a mode that's just no glitches, mild randomization. Neat. Really, Goomba? No kidding. I heard beans on toast is a great meal. Yeah, good seeing you, Goomba. So they put actual hints into the game in some places. Great. So, are the Armos Knights beatable without the bow and arrow? I don't actually remember. Well, it might not necessarily be the Armos Knights too, right? I don't remember if I set that setting or not. I don't think I can get to them without the arrow, because I think I needed to kill the regular eyeball knights. Ooh, jeez. I don't know that room well enough to explore it in the dark. Oh wait, maybe I can do a shenanigan. No, it's the wrong one! The lightning one's the one that briefly lights up the screen, right? Red eye gores require a bow to kill. Oh, this was the quickest setup ever, man. Like, there's this very user-friendly website You just load the ROM into it. Probably gonna die in this room, just can't find my way out. I'm gonna go explore somewhere else that I know doesn't have a progression block. Oh, really? They've written the algorithm so it doesn't require you to go through dark rooms. That's kind of cool. Like, if it ever requires you to go through a dark room, it'll guarantee that it's possible to obtain a light source by then. Is that right? That's cool. I actually didn't realize, you'd have to go out of your way to not have the lantern by this dungeon. I didn't realize some of those rooms were dark. Okay, so, like, did they cheat in the basement of Hyrule Castle? You kind of have a light radius around you. Did they cheat that in? And so you have to go through it? Okay. I didn't realize that was actually an effect, a passive effect of having the lantern. I don't think I've ever gone far enough in the game to get to a room that would actually be pitch dark. That's crazy. Why would you not have it? Now it suddenly is relevant. That's really cool. No, I think they were right to cheat it in for that dungeon. It wouldn't be fun otherwise. It's impossible vanilla? Really? So you can choose not to open the chest in Link's room, right? And then if you choose not to open it there, it spawns down in the little mini dungeon where your uncle is. What happens if you don't pick it up there? I think that's the furthest I've ever gone without getting it. I was always really confused about that chest. Like, it's all set up like it's going to be an important thing, and then it's empty. So I'd always just gotten it in the starting room. Zelda won't allow you to push the thing if you don't have a lamp. Really? She has like dialogue that pops up? That's cool. I'm working on the beeping, hold on. Let us have a cup of tea. Next to Zelda. Oh, sure. Right, because that's also a suspicious chest that only has like a 5 rupee thing in it, right? That's cool. That's wild if they went to all that trouble to make it impossible to miss it, that it's still coded that the room is dark if you don't have it, right? Like, I wonder if that was something that changed during development. They're like, it's actually not fun to not have the lantern. That's the fastest. These tiles you have to cover to get to it or something. Oh, but I don't have the bug net to catch them. That's right. I'm so used to just having it, and I can't just swing the bottle like other Zelda games. This is super cool though. This is way up my alley. I think it's probably playable even if you're not really familiar with Link to the Past. If you've only like played it once instead of over and over as a kid. Yeah, that's not shocking. I don't think there are actually chests in the graveyard. I'm trying to remember. There's the one where you can drop down and then use the bombs back in the Hyrule Castle basement, but we already did that. Yeah, I saw they had a daily challenge like roguelikes do. It's kind of cool. Like everyone has the same seed, basically. Into the magic shop. So they just use the daily one that's provided by the randomizer site, or one of them generates a seed and then shares it? That's cool. Zora, give me 50 rupees for 500. Just watch other people play it. Have randomizers been featured at, ooh, Cape, that's cool. Randomizers really been featured at GQ yet? I know there's some concern with unpredictability and, like, the time to beat. I don't remember not having a shield for this long, right? Okay, so I gotta remember the cape is in... Let me make some notes about items I know their location, in case someone puts this back on their sub-block later, or Andrea wants to keep it on her sub-block. So, cape is in Zora's domain, sword upgrade on bookshelf. Not too much variance in finish times. I'll take the magic boomerang. So, does the blue boomerang simply not exist, or does it not act as a progression item like the sword does? Sure. That's cool. Coming at it from like a running perspective. I beat this game pretty fast when we streamed the normal game, but it was like 6 hours, which is fast for me. Really? Is that true in the base game? And why would you want the blue boomerang? I thought the red boomerang was just a flat upgrade. Boomerang causes lag. That's interesting. I thought it was. There's a couple other caves I can think of that I haven't been to that I should be able to access that might have chests. Otherwise, I might have to go back into the first dungeon. And go to the desert for sure. I don't remember if there were actual real chests in the graveyard, but I'll scope it out real quick. So, like, the kid that's under the bridge that usually has a bottle now has a random item, right? Oh, this is probably fun. With the arrow where you can hook shot across, but there's, like, no reason to. It's just there. As a kid, I always thought that was something important. I used to buy into those "my dad works at Nintendo" memes when I was really young. You could totally play as Zelda in Ocarina of Time. Yeah, a bunch of chests in the Lost Woods. I might be able to get a decent ways towards Death Mountain because I have the gloves. I have to think about playing the game in a really different way. This is Pegasus boots to open that, right? I've always sequence broke that. Like done some warp shenanigans to get far enough back to be able to crash into it. The cave is dark. I didn't even think about that. This might be a thing. One of these is a door, or a staircase, and I think it's the Pegasus Boots rock up there. I'll ask for suggestions if I get stuck, but for now, if you guys want to keep it to hide. What's the name? Thanks for asking. Cave to Lost Old Man, good luck. Because of the palette change. It's funny. One of us always tells the truth. One of us likes peanut butter. Lumberjacks Inc. You see him, we saw him. I want to say that was a piece of heart in the base game. That's the one where you have to run into the tree. Fall into the tree after it's been cut. Yeah, so like, how does it determine when that opens in the base game? So just after a certain checkpoint? Does this guy have a unique item or just rupees? After beating Aghanim. So like after coming back to the light world from the dark world? Yay! Ether medallion. I wonder when he'll be back. Mode 7 hype. I love all the fake Master Swords in the Lost Woods. Rude. One more corners I can still check out. Go to the one via Kakariko. Okay, I was gonna say, I thought I would have already ran into a Dark World portal by now. Oh, I didn't even think about that. They gave a custom sprite for Magus. That's perfect. Now I'm screwed, so now I have to save and quit. I see. Gotcha. Appreciate that they warned you about that on the randomizer site. Instead of the Moon Pearl just being something that is kind of almost like a story unlock. Like, you do have a brief window where you're in the Dark World but can't do anything there. But it's mostly just to be like, you know, appreciate this once you finish this dungeon. So entrance randomizer changes what's on, like every door takes you to a random screen in the game. Separated overworld versus dungeon, I guess. Or can you, like, bind how crazy that gets? Okay, I still have more stuff to do in the Lost Woods. I'll head back there later. There's quite a few things I can do down in this area. Okay, so there's a little secret you can do where you throw a rock in the puddle. Or no, that's to get quick. You drain the lake, and then there's a little fish, and you can throw the fish in the lake, and he gives you a reward. I think he just gives you rupees, though. I guess that's just always rupees. It's never something special in this. Womp womp. Okay. Trying to think about what things would count for the randomizer. Ha! Oh yeah, there's a piece of heart down there. I forgot about that. So he gets a slight change to his cape color. Okay. But it looks like they had some fun with that. Secret to everyone. I was stuck there for so long when I was a kid, where you have to drain the water in the light world because it changes things in the dark world. I was stuck there, and I also had the ice temple. It's not a glitch, but it's just kind of poor preparation where it's possible to use your small keys in the wrong order. I don't think you soft lock. I think you fix it by getting an extra small key in a later dungeon. Blue mail. I think I'll need to drop a heart stat. That's a B. That is not a heart. Yeah, right? The whole multiple worlds concept is so, like, core to Link to the Past. Nice. Oh, that was not the button I was expecting. You can't cast it on a doorway. I remember having to can of Samaria cheese, which required you to do the next dungeon first. That happened to me several times as a kid. I don't remember how you do it correctly. Hey, hookshot, that's cool. And the moon pearl. Wonderful. So, okay, he gave me a thing. Is it because he gives you like a 300 rupee and those sorts of rupee rewards are special? They get thrown into the randomizer? You'd be surprised how many games have Bs. Shit. So any of like the major rupee pickups, like 50 or more, get rolled into the randomizer. It's a secret to everybody. Thieves. One game. Throw me some hearts. I'm begging you. There we go. Not because I'm worried about dying, I just don't like the beeping noise. I think there was actually an option in the randomizer to, like, decrease the rate at which it beeps or something. I didn't mess with it. Try to keep this as vanilla as possible. Inconvenient spot to die. A rupee pot farmer. One day I will take over the world with my skills. Have you met my brother in the desert? He's way richer than I am. Speed it up if you're crazy. You can come here super early in the base game. The ice rod is never necessary, right? Like, I don't think it unlocks anything. Which is a fun way to kill... Oh, no, that's not true. The Turtle Rock. Yeah. Which is crazy, because it's such a random unlock. But it never is like a progression puzzle-solving thing, it's just for the boss fight. King's Horse. Wait. Nice. Early to get that bug net. I usually play Link to the Past with this just constant sense. I have this like security blanket around me that's multiple bottles filled with fairies. And I don't start to play, like, pay attention and play for real until I run out of fairies. It's interesting, like, even in the games where the fairies heal significantly less than a potion or something, I always will go for fairies. I just play better when I know it's going to trigger automatically. It's an obnoxious item to find because there's almost no logic gates on where it can be. I see. Because, like, there's probably a bunch of places where, like, bombs are required to progress, or, arrows or the hammer or whatever, but since there's literally only one place, it could be almost anywhere as long as it's before Turtle Rock. I guess it doesn't help, too, that Turtle Rock is, like, the penultimate dungeon. Rhyme and Rhyme 2 would probably be fun. This was super painless to set up. Don't talk to me or touch my sign, right? He gives you a bottle, so he might actually give you something super important. If you can bring the chest to him. If you have a chest or you have the dwarf guy's brother following you, does saving and quitting bring you back to the light world? So you, like, busted down my door and are being a jerk by talking to me. Normally I'd be angry and make you pay for it, but I bet you're just gonna break all my pots and steal my 50 rupees. Yeah, 12-game combo randomizer. I think so. I think you can get pretty fun with that sort of a thing. I think we're like right on the cusp of that. The fan community, like, remixing these older titles. I love that, what we were saying, that this just exists in these games, independent of developer intent. Like, that's true of speedrunning as well, that when a developer makes a game, there is a speedrun route. There is an optimal route that exists through their game that they did not intentionally design, that is discovered over time. And the community approaches that optimal route. Like, that's so rad to me. It's like how the meta in a card game like Magic or Hearthstone, like, just exists once you include a certain number of cards with a certain number of rules. Once I farted in this cave so bad, all the jazz hands guys ran away and hid in the sand. Wonderful. Cave palette's kind of rough for noticing. I just have to remember them now. Womp womp. Saving quit always brings you back to the light world unless you've beaten Naganim and you have the mirror. That's true in the base game as well, or is that a hack they put in to make this functional? That would be kind of cool if all the dialogue was randomized. I actually wasn't sure about that, if it was the same every time. I feel like you could include that pretty trivially. I was saying, I bet you could do some stuff with the fortune teller to have the fortune teller give you actual hints. You just have to come up with a unique string to describe the location of every possible obtainable item in the game. Right, I don't have the book yet. I forgot. Alright, so Lost Woods... Just remind myself really quick. There's probably some cave doors that I'm forgetting about. Can't do much up here yet. That's dark. There's like 1 or 2 chests in Lost Woods I can get. And then I should probably explore the first dungeon a little bit closer. And then I'll ask for help if I get stuck after that, but folks are keeping a tally of chests I haven't been to. Yeah, this game is so good. Definitely my favorite Zelda. Link Between Worlds is really great as well. I did a lot of cool riffing on Link to the Past, so like if you were familiar with this game, there was stuff that you could get. There's a couple screens that might have chests with rupees and stuff in them that I don't remember because, like, you basically never go there in a normal playthrough. Like, I think there's like an interstitial screen that's kind of close to Hyrule Castle that I feel like has some interesting stuff in it. Hey, thanks for the host, Swatcat. Appreciate that. Are there many chests in Hyrule Castle proper? I mean, I guess I could go fight Aghanim. Technically. Pretty sure there's some chests back there. Yeah, it sounds like it's sort of like similar skill set to really good card game players where you're just constantly calculating the odds in your head based on what you've already seen and what you know can't still be around. Later, SWAT. See you around. Cool. I don't remember if there's any progression items necessary in this part of Hyrule Castle. There might be. All the chests in the intro area. Okay. Oh, no shit! Man, just, I'm learning things about this game. It's like when you watch a speedrun, like someone explain the routing in GDQ or something like that, and you're like, I didn't know that about that map. Really? That's funny. I don't think there's anything else that's special up here then. Is this dude that no one ever kills? I guess he's maybe very likely to drop bombs? I'm really glad that they set it up that they've set up the generator in such a way that it requires you to get the lamp before making you go through a dark area, at least on the normal setting. I can see this community being like, what, you know these maps, right? You can walk through them with your eyes closed. Not that well. This is the area I was thinking of. Like, I basically never have any reason to be on this screen, so I don't know if there's like a secret door or a chest or something. I don't think there is, though. Thought I'd check really quick. Okay, well now that I've got opened up a bunch of chests, because now that I have the Moon Pearl, I can take that Dark World portal. And I still have more stuff to explore in the Lost Woods. I had to warp out before, so I guess I'll double check the Light World Lost Woods first. So, do you still need the 3 pendants in order to get the Master Sword, but there's something else in place of the Master Sword? It could just be like rupees or something dumb. Dick. So you could go to the pedestal and see that it's rupees and be like, okay, I don't even need to get the pendants in this playthrough. Really? The book lets you read what's on it? It just tells you, prints the text? That's neat. trying to think. Unconventional places generally only accessible via hookshot. Not too many in the light world that I remember. Just a couple things in Death Mountain, I want to say, but we won't be there for a little while. Oh, right, I can't actually get further because of the... I forgot there's a hammer peg there. Well, I still have a couple more things to do in there, but we'll come back to it later. Holy possibilities, Batman. Before I was like, okay, there's only so many places I can check, and now it's like, oof, not so much now. I'll check alternate Caprico Village. There's some other stuff down here that's interesting. Book on the pedestal with the book being required. It's possible, that's funny. Have a truly awesome day. I wonder what the Smiths brothers are gonna give me. I think I can get him now. It requires the Golden Glove, I think. The Dark World theme is a close second to the Hyrule Castle theme for favorite melodies in Zelda. Oh wow, this is something I'm not used to being gated. There's a lot of like gates that you don't really think about if you play through this game in the normal order. You don't really get to see or appreciate outside of a randomizer. I do have the Golden Glove, yeah. So I'm gonna try and grab him here in a second. So I don't know this game well enough to remember where every single chest is, so I'll probably just still explore every screen. You should just be down here. Frog Bro! I can bring him back to his brother really quick. Hopefully he's got something interesting. Yeah, I really like the Link Between Worlds version. The acoustic guitar. It's a good, good jammin' song. Oh, right. It's not the same as having the mirror, right? It just lets me start in the light world, but I have to start in a specific place. I think this is closer. Weird question, does, oh no, I think I need to go down and then left. Does saving and quitting like that change your health total? I thought I was at max. Oh wait, no, I'm doing this the stupid way. That's okay. We're not in a hurry. Man, this is super exciting. I'm totally getting like the dopamine loop from the randomizer, where it's like, there's a good chance that the Smith is just gonna have nothing. He's just gonna have like a rupee or something, but he could have a really important item like the lantern or something. It's cool for like a non-progression point that you generally don't care about in the real game to suddenly matter this much in the randomizer. Especially like some of the random thieves that... Secret to Everybody thieves that give you some rupees, right? I think the original Link to the Past, they didn't translate that the same as the NES, because it wasn't a meme at that point. Like, they just go in there and they say, don't tell anyone, they don't say it's a secret to everyone, like the later games do. Requires more game knowledge than 100%ing it. Yo. Okay, so they don't make you wait. A third bottle. Still no bug net, though. Hold on one second, guys. I'm gonna pause the timer here. Sorry about that. So I babysit my niece Cameron, and her dad usually comes to pick her up about 10 minutes from now. Andrea walked in the door because she's home early. She's at a conference in Santa Fe, my wife. And then I looked over at I've got a baby camera to keep an eye on her while she's napping during stream. And I looked at the camera and there was no Cameron. She was just gone from the bed. Usually when Kat picks her up, he turns the camera off. So I just had to quickly check with Andrea and make sure everything was okay. I guess Kat's wife, Donovan, her mom came and got her today and she didn't know about turning the camera off. So I'm just like, what happened? Did she crawl out of the crib or something? Everything's fine. Nothing is ruined. Yeah, let's just do it. There's more stuff to do in the Light World Forest, but... There's an emoji for music notes. Should probably use, right? Oh, right. No shield. Baby location randomizer. Exactly. Yeah, I'm so used to just like passively looking at that baby monitor in my peripheral vision while I'm streaming. So looking at it and seeing an empty crib, I was like, either I see an empty crib or I see that it's turned off, which tells me that she was picked up and I just didn't see it. Let's try City of Thieves. So this one has a chance to have a piece of heart, so it has a chance to have something actually interesting. So once I get that, I can be pretty sure there's nothing else interesting in that room, right? Because it was just a piece of heart. Okay. Remember if I popped in here? Okay. Go see what the flute is. That's good. Go see the item on the first try. I think that's probably smart. They did it that way. I don't remember if I got the chest in the back of the tavern. I'll come back to it later. Go away! No one wants bees. Now you have to have the bow and arrow to be here in the Light World. Does he not let you play without it? Okay, I guess he gives you one. Oh, that's right. It's a slower shot than I remembered. Does he have a prize other than rupees if you get a certain score, or is it just rupees? Just rupees, okay. What is this little, like, drum that he hits? Best rupee source in the game if you're cash starved. I'm really impressed with the custom sprite quality. But I don't have the... I don't have the shovel. Really, how do you dig up the ground without it? Or is there just a chance for it to be in the above ground stuff? Womp womp. Ow. Rude. How does it handle that in the randomizer then? Oh, you're talking in the randomizer he gives you a shovel that goes in your inventory when you go to play it? Okay. Because you could dig up a piece of heart in there, right? So there could be something in there. You swap between them like the bottles, I see. But I have to have one of them, I guess, in order to be able to do it. Like, I have to have the flute. I thought Goomba was saying I can play without the shovel. Oh, you can just dig with the Y button? Oh, okay. Thanks. Once the minigame begins, basically. There we go. Thank you. That makes sense. Because it has to do that, right? Is this just randomized, or is there a specific tile that has it? Okay. We got it. And it wasn't anything important. Thanks for telling me, Goomba. If like the lantern or something had been there, that would have been stressful. So I can imagine being dismayed getting the Moon Pearl and some way to get to the Dark World too early. Before you have items that are really important for your early progression. Like, oh my god, there's so many places I can go now. I think this is a thing. At most 30 digs. Okay. Oh really? So it's not even location based, it's number of presses. That's interesting. So does he still sell the big bomb? He does, okay. It's based on the seed, that's interesting. So, okay, messing with the dam actually does require the magic mirror, right? Because I'm guessing the dam status resets if you save and quit.
Are you talking about zombies or a waterfall?
What's that?
So you're talking about the dam. Are you talking about zombies or are you talking about waterfall?
The dam in Link to the Past. The dam where you have to switch it in the light world so that you can do the dungeon differently in the dark world.
You were supposed to laugh at my funny joke. Fine.
Nice. Garbage, garbage, garbage.
Why do you have blue hair?
Oh, there's the mirror. I'm Magus from Chrono Trigger. The randomizer lets you pick, like you can play as Kirby.
Why aren't you the robot?
This was one of the ones they offered on the randomizer site.
I didn't realize you were such a big fan of Magus.
I really like Magus. I like Chrono Trigger a lot.
Oh.
I'll say it works pretty well as a Link
No,
set.
but whenever you talk about Chrono Trigger, you're all frog this, frog that.
I don't think frog's playable.
Frog that.
I can show you the list of possible sprites. If you want it on your sub block, I can switch the sprite. This is for DGRX.
Does he come with special powers?
No, just a sprite
just the
change.
sprite.
Yeah, they added some like custom ones, like when he's pushing against walls and things. Like when you don't have the Moon Pearl and you go to the Dark World, Link turns into a bunny, so he turns into the cat that he owns.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's a nice touch.
Potential soft lock and swamp palace and the randomizer if you couldn't reset the water. So I'm trying to think of areas that I have access to now that I have the magic mirror. There's a couple caves. So the way this works is that every chest in the game has been randomized. So I could get a really important item from a chest that used to have like 50 rupees in it.
Right.
Also, characters that give you significant items are also randomized. So like the thief that says it's a secret to everybody and throws some rupees at you could give you a plot critical drop, potentially. I think I can actually do this dungeon. I'm pretty sure the only thing that blocks me is the hook shot, and I already have it, so let's give it a try. Someone could probably add Frog. If he was on the list, I didn't notice it. It's like, they have like 200 alternate characters you can play as. Someone submitted the list. Oh, I need the flippers, that's right. I completely forgot there was swimming. Disregard. What did King Zora give me? Like a potion, I think? It wasn't something important. It also wasn't just rupees, but...
So
Magic boomerang, that's right.
Did you like look at Cameron's thing and suddenly she was gone?
Yes, there was just an empty crib.
What the fuck?
Right, because Kat always turned. I saw you come in. I didn't see her come in.
Donovan was literally right behind me.
I see. Yeah, I just reached. Oh, Andrea's home early. Wonder if she's gonna see Kat.
And then suddenly Cameron was gone.
Yeah. Empty crib. I was a little nervous.
Andrea, did you kill Cameron?
But I need the Book of Hylia to read this thing and get the item, don't I? Well, no, I can still cast the spell.
You don't already know Hylian from playing this game so much?
I guess they could have randomized the actual tablets. So you need the book. You can't just know which spell to cast. That's interesting. No idea where the book is. I don't think any of these had a staircase in them in the Dark World, right? I may have checked them last time, just being... I just saved the game and I'm going to save again because I'm paranoid. Okay. So, this is a spoiler, but are the tablets themselves randomized? Like, can you have to cast a different spell at one of the three of them, or is that a setting?
Are your hearts purple because you're Magus?
You can set what color you want your hearts to be.
Oh, they're supposed to be blue, aren't they? They look purple to me.
Sure, but they don't randomize it, is what you're saying? I got here really early because I got the gloves that let you pick up the really heavy rocks.
Yep.
And I also happen to find the Moon Pearl that lets me keep my natural form. This is really cool, like... I could play this many times and get a lot of value out of it. Go away, bee. Go away, bee. Give you the spell. So you read them in Hylian. There's only two that give you spells then, right? Because you get the lightning spell in Death Mountain, but you get Quake from the angry Japanese earthquake catfish. You throw a rock in his pond. Bomb shot. Oh, interesting. So the Dark World isn't as open as I was fearing. I forgot that there's a hammer point there. Okay, that's a little bit less stressful then.
Do they have to, like, pick a randomization where you can actually win? Okay, so it's not just... Because I was like, if you could win from any randomization...
I just got a shield
Frog
for the
is
first
an
time.
option! This is
Frog
why
is an
you
option?
should look at all of the options, Dylan.
I didn't notice Frog. Would have been a good choice. Also green, also uses a sword.
Sorry, it's nice to see Magus as a good guy. But isn't he the bad guy?
You never beat Chrono Trigger, did you?
No. Does he like turn and become a good guy? That must be what happens if you're giving me that look. And then it turns out he was brainwashed by some big cosmic entity that's gonna destroy the universe. Isn't that how all RPGs work?
We were just talking about whether or not we use him in the game, so... Is he even a good guy in this? Can you know his motivations, Andrea?
Well, he's trying to kill Ganon. Ganon's bad.
Alright. What if he's even eviler? Okay, so there's still stuff I can do in the first dungeon. There's still stuff I can do in the Dark World Lost Woods, too. And there's a couple places where I can use the mirror to do things that I couldn't do before, so hold up. Went over by Kakariko Village, I think. Yeah, there's a shop with a shield. I think that shop always has a shield in case a like eats it. But now I finally have one.
You don't want 20 rupees?
I'll show you the randomizer later now, it's beneath me. The randomizer settings like really lets you specify how much bullshit you want to go through, if you want it to like just make the game solvable, or solvable only with glitches, or make it true random, good luck. So I put it on the most forgiving for this bush conveyance. Womp womp. And pieces of heart are still kind of exciting, but I'd much rather it be a progression item. We definitely will not be beating this today because I set it to all dungeons, which means we have to beat every boss. But if I had set it to Ganon only, you can maybe get lucky and get the right order of items to go straight to him, I think. Unless if you absolutely need the big bomb, but I'm guessing you don't. Bomb only requires...
Oh, I learned some interesting news.
What's that?
Two pieces of intrigue. So Ice Cube. Ice Cube is a neutrino detector in the South Pole. They put a bunch of little photo detectors in the ice. I mean, like 3 kilometers down in the ice. Like you have to go way down in the ice for it to be clear. And apparently it's so clear, like you can't make anything like it in the lab. I know, right? They should have made Ice Cube their like mascot or something.
Probably would have been okay with it.
Yeah, right? It's a really good experiment. It's been going for basically 10 years now. Anyway, they, back a couple years ago, there was this press release because they saw one neutrino coming from the same direction as this extragalactic galaxy that was flaring at the time. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, and everyone made such a big deal about this, there was all this press, and I was like, guys, it's one neutrino. Because you know me.
Yeah. It's not significant. You want to have a lot of data.
Yeah.
Before we start.
Anyway,
excited.
they have discovered this guy. Anyway, they've seen it in 3 different other times.
Oh, so it seems
like it's real.
real.
Like, you're not going to get a 3 sigma coincidence 3 times in a row. I guess I don't know what sigma that is, but I'm sure I could calculate it, but I don't want to. So that's cool. And so then you're like, okay, well, if we're seeing neutrinos from this galaxy far, far, far away, why aren't we seeing neutrinos from closer galaxies? Because there are much closer galaxies. Anyway, apparently this galaxy is, this blazar as I call it, is special because it's not one but two galaxies merging. And apparently they've seen some other like tentative neutrino sources that are also merging galaxies. So maybe it's something, anyway. So that's kind of interesting. One, that thing seems to be persisting.
I was so
and two, that
engrossed in
they
this,
seem
I
to be
forgot to
finding.
fix
Oh,
it.
blazar. Blazar is a extragalactic, so it's a galaxy that has a big supermassive black hole that's pulling shit into it. And since it's pulling shit into it, it has jets of high energy particles like gamma rays, and a blazar is when those jets are pointing right at you. So thankfully, blazars are far away.
Oh, but I need to
you
have
see them when it's like, you know, dead on. But that's what a blazar is. Yeah, it is a pretty good. Yeah, it's one of the better names in astronomy.
I have a question. I mentioned this screen before as a bullshit screen that I've never spent any time on in actual Link to the Past. I did not know there was a house in that corner in the bottom right. How do you get into that house in the vanilla version of the game? Like, what even is in there? I can get to it now. It's just a shop.
Yeah, Johan, maybe they are mutated neutrinos that are just destroying the planets in that system.
Just jump over the fence.
Overheating the core and making the plate shift around and shit.
Oh, like from here? Oh, okay, I think I see. Thank you. I didn't realize that was elevated.
Oh, the other cool
Sweet.
thing is that that merging galaxy thing I was telling you about that seems to be persisting is potentially a pevitron. Now, what is a pevitron, you ask? A pevitron is a cosmic ray source that's making the highest energy particles that we see from our galaxy.
Yeah, because like you talk about TeV photons all the time.
Right. Right, and a PeV is 1,000 times more than a TeV. And so we see these, and we're able to say, oh, we have supernova remnants, and they make, you know, MEV particles. Because we see the pion bump.
Just
anyway,
how much less than a PeV?
An MEV?
Yes.
10 to the 6?
It's quite a bit smaller. Quite a bit less energetic, I should say, not smaller.
TeV, PeV, 10 to the 9. So anyway, Hawk has found some pevitron
Hawk is the
candidates.
experiment that Andrea works on.
Yeah, it's a cosmic gamma ray experiment. We see
a
gamma rays
bunch
in
of
space.
tanks of water in the
Mountains of Mexico.
mountains of
Here, Pueblo.
Mexico. And showers of particles fly into them, and then you have detectors inside, and then you reconstruct what the particles must have looked like, or the gamma rays must have looked like.
Yeah, we get their energy, their direction, we make a big map of it, and we say, hey, there's a bunch of high energy gamma rays coming from this direction. That must be a source. And so we have some pevitron candidates that seem to be associated with pulsar wind nebulae. So now Ice Cube's saying pevitrons are these merging blazars. We're saying pevitrons are these pulsars. And Hess, this other gamma ray experiment, is saying, oh, the supermassive black hole in the center of the galaxy is a pevitron. So apparently, according to all this evidence, pevitrons are a wide variety of things.
They're everything.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess this is all very new, cutting-edge stuff, so we'll see what the deal is in like 5 years, but...
Pevitron is peta-electron volt, right?
Yeah, it's PeV.
Like, that's a measure of energy, and I guess also technically a measure of mass, so it's the same thing. Like, how much energy is in the flapping of a mosquito's wings?
So flapping of mosquitoes' wings, it's about, what is it, 10 TeV?
Okay.
So...
But that's a huge deal when it's a particle.
Yeah,
which
we're
is
not talking about like
significantly
a, you
smaller
know,
than
you think about how many particles are in
mosquito
a fucking
wing.
fly, or mosquito, whatever.
Pevitron. Andrew can't enunciate.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Oh, I didn't play your song. I was so engrossed in the randomizer. I didn't fix the camera either, but I just did. It doesn't work on this profile. Hey, Andrew's here.
Yeah, I feel a little bad because so I was a organizer for this conference, so I'm the person who invited this Ice Cube guy out.
Not Ice Cube, but the guy who works on...
Oh, yeah, the scientist who works on the experiment
called
Ice Cube. Not
Although if Ice Cube would have came out too, that would have been cool.
That would have been very cool, especially if you could give a talk on recent results from the Ice Cube Observatory. Anyway, this conference is a bunch of, like, nuclear theorists. They're talking about, like, proton structure and jet substructure and lots of equations, stuff that I don't know, and stuff that they probably don't know either. But for some reason, they have a, like, astroparticle physics session, which I don't fully understand why. But I was asked to bring in people, so I did. But I'm not sure if they got much out of the rest of the conference, and I'm not sure if the other people got much out of what they were saying. It was just two really different fields, you know?
Falling Magus there was pretty cool looking. This is the dungeon that has a bunch of fake bombable walls, right? They look bombable, but they aren't actually. I can tell.
Can't you turn that ball into a fairy?
That one's real. Not that one, the bubbles. And I don't have the magic powder yet. Oh god. Fire, air, water, and dirt. Come on, big money! Oh, well, I need it for the dungeon.
That's kind of funny that it's like you're playing it again for the first time, and every chest you're like, oh, what's it gonna be?
Exactly, Andrea. That's exactly right. No, it also means that there's a bunch of chests that you don't give a shit about, and like screens that you don't give a shit about that suddenly matter. These guys are a lot easier if you have fire.
So how many random...
I forgot they were in here. Whoops. How many random what?
How many random instances are there? Because they only pick the ones that you can beat.
I think it is...
How many can you beat?
I think it is unlikely that any two people will ever experience...
Okay, so it's not like someone can go and memorize all the random ones.
No, it's arbitrarily large, is my understanding. I think it's arbitrarily large even if you set it... Don't forget
about the hand.
The Wallmaster?
Yeah, there's a hand.
Even if you set it to the, like, most strict settings where it really has to be beatable with no glitches or shenanigans, I think it's still very, very large. Like, it's probably more than the number of possible poker hands. Or not poker hands, but, like, hands in a 52-card deck. Right? And that's already, like, an enormously large number that's, like, larger than the number of atoms in the universe, and... There's actually a really cool... I'll have to Google it and share it in Discord later, but there's a cool, like, pop science article that explains, like, it tries to use an analogy to explain what an incalculably large number, the number of possible shuffles in a 52-card deck there are.
Yeah.
Like, by comparing it to, like, atoms, and it's really cool. Ah! I remember how you usually get into this room. So this is my first dungeon. I mean, I went into the very first dungeon in the original world, but I couldn't get through because I don't have the lantern. And apparently the rooms that are dark are actually pitch black if you don't have the lantern. But you wouldn't know that in the main game because it's impossible to get to a pitch black area without it. Like, the game forces you to have it by that point. So it's interesting that they coded it that way. It's possible that, like... Maybe they originally intended you to be able to go to those places and players got confused, so then they made it so that you cannot get stuck. Shoot. Those things used to freak me out as a kid.
Well, yeah, you're like doing your thing and all of a sudden, whoop, you're getting grabbed. That must be how the kitties feel whenever we pick them up.
Just pick them up.
Poor kitties. starve them, scare them. Oh, did you tell them that Marty managed to turn on the burner?
Oh my god.
So Marty is not a graceful kitty.
He was trying to get...
He was on the stove because he was trying to lick the pan or something. Yeah. And he fell.
He slipped and fell, and he kicked the knob and turned the burner on.
Yeah, he turned it to the light setting, and it was going click, 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 click.
He's gonna burn our house down in the middle of the night.
Yeah, if our house burns down, it's gonna be Marty's fault. Well, thankfully, he set it to the light setting, so we heard the click, 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 click.
Yeah, because if he had just clicked it over really quickly,
yeah, and it
wouldn't
lit.
have known.
Yeah.
Could have just been on all night at full blast. Alright, that was a waste of a key, but that's okay. So are small keys bound to their dungeons in the randomizer? Because I don't think they are in the actual game, right? I know what boss keys are.
Yeah, he was just mad because he didn't like his dinner. Marty, if you burn this house, you burn with us.
Oh yeah, this room I was stuck in for ages as a kid.
Why?
Because you're supposed to pull the statue, and there is no reason to pull statues before this. You only ever had to push them. So I didn't realize that was possible. Okay, no beeping. Everything's
God,
fine.
they just come out of nowhere. Fuck your day up.
I thought there was one in this room.
Are you gonna pull a statue?
Retro mode has universal small keys. I'm gonna go back there in a second. I'm gonna see if there's anything of interest over this way.
I mean a heart.
Yeah, hearts would be great. Nice. Well, that was a decision.
Stupid.
A choice. I don't know what I expected to happen. No. With the cane of Samaria, you don't have to pull the statue.
What's the cane of Samaria?
It makes the red block. Remember?
Nope.
You get it in the penultimate dungeon. Or not the penultimate dungeon, you get it in the 6th dungeon. These guys are so annoying to kill when you don't have fire. Gibdos, man. I tell you what. I'm gonna get crabbed.
Nice.
Yeah, underutilized in the actual game. As was the ice rod. Joe, do you remember any point where you have to use the ice rod in this game?
Nope.
Okay. Thought you were gonna tell the Turtle Rock story.
Oh yeah. You do have to use it against that, don't you? Dylan told me that only has 2 phases, fire and ice. And so I was having a really hard time with it. And so when I beat the 2nd phase, I celebrated. I was like, great, I put the controller down. I was like, all right, I win. And then all of a sudden, nope, there's a 3rd phase. Ooh. And I died. And then it took me a while to get back to the whole being able to beat it.
Sorry. You were pretty pissed at me for that. Rightfully so. Okay, so I can't burn this because I don't have the fire rod.
Alright, I'm gonna go see Georgina.
Bye-bye. Good seeing you. Sick.
Howdy, Marty. Are you hungry, Katie?
Right, I remember this now. Just confidently say the ice rod is dumb. So you're not exaggerating when you say you play this every day, right? Serious as a heart attack. I don't know if there's anything of consequence in this room. Maybe if you, like, move one of these blocks. 3 seeds a day. Wow. Oh, that sucks. Was there anything in that room, or is that room a dead end? Good job, Magus. Magus. What are you doing with your life, buddy? Yeah, because this is gated behind a key, right? I don't even know what it does in vanilla. I guess what really was gated was the ability to... Well, no. I say hitting the star switch changes things up elsewhere in the dungeon, but it doesn't really matter there. Yeah, it's interesting you need a small key to get in there, though. Right. That's interesting. Good luck, Rabadon. In real life, some rooms are useless. I can't remember how you do this, and I thought it involved the star platform things. That's correct. Then you explode the big wall in the back, and I have the big key, but there could just be garbage in the big chest. The map! Great. I do like that they decided to make small chests and big chests treated exactly the same. Like, you're not more likely to get a cool item in a big chest. Bomb jump over the holes. Interesting. It mentioned, what was the tech it mentioned on the randomizer page? It said you might have to run into something and bounce off the wall in order to make it over certain gaps. Like, they expect players to be okay with that sort of tech. I think it's probably fine. Like, it's not obviously a glitch. I was just surprised that they required that. About as techy as me walking past that hole like that. Okay, now I might be almost tapped out in the Dark World. So I got a few things to check out, but... sorry. I'll tell you something. With crystals 5-6, you can find a great fairy in the pyramid. Flomp, flomp, whizzle womp. Thanks, dude. Thanks for the heal. Oh, interesting. There's a room in Ganon's Tower where you have to do the bonk recoil thing to reach some fairies. Therefore, it must be intended. I can follow that logic, I think. I don't think that's unreasonable. So, okay, here's a question. Would the game require me to go through the spike maze without the cape? Like, would it just make sure that enough hearts existed that I could make it without dying? Alright. Do I have all 4 bottles? I totally do. That's crazy. We're not even playing on easy. Where's the cape? Arcane, okay. That's cool though, that I thought about that. Oh, I might actually be able to get across with the hook shot. Just always have the hammer by the time I have the hook shot. So it literally never matters. That's cool. Oh man, I'm pumped about this. Oh, but it's only from the other way! Ah, I'm not as pumped about it now. That's unfortunate. That shortcut always drove me crazy as a kid. It's just like, why is this? It's in the game and it's got this giant, like, arrow pointing at it, and you never need it. I don't think there's anything for me to grab onto over there either. I did not download the spoilers. No, I didn't really realize what that was until it was too late. I don't think I can derive it. Like, I know the seed name, right? Is there a way to derive it from that? I still have things to do. I'll go check a couple other places I can think of. I don't remember if I left any chests behind in the Light World first dungeon. Actually, I might have, now that I think about it. Well, the website generates a file that has a unique string at the end of it, and I just assumed that that was the seed. So how does it determine them, does it still require beating Ognims, how you can get into that tree? Gotcha. Forgot that's the mushroom. Totally forgot that that could be a thing. But it was arrows. It was not a thing. The world refused to change. So you're saying if I had the book, I could know what's actually here, because it's not the Master Sword? Okay, so I think I'm out of chests to check in the Lost Woods. I guess you'd have to have been paying really close attention this whole time to know, but I'll go ahead and open it up to some hints. Does anyone know of a chest that I haven't been to yet? I'm pretty sure there's at least 1 or 2 that I can do in the first dungeon, because I might already have the big key in there. But I don't think I tried to open the big chest. So provided it doesn't just have arrows, there might be something important in there. Close to Thieves Town. I thought I needed Pegasus boots to get in the... Well, let's see. Thanks, my bad. That's right, I remember you getting knocked back. Is there any, like, cool stories from like streamers doing the randomizer, or anyone who's played this doing the randomizer, of getting like a really unusual item super late in the game. This is where it gets interesting. Yeah, the game dungeon in vanilla. Hey, flippers! Well, that changes things. Thanks for the tip about this place. For some reason, I thought I had to dash into it. The gate, I probably, every time I play this, I bet I dash into it, it doesn't work, and I go, oh, and then I go and I pull it. But since I didn't have the dash, I didn't do the second step. If you get to Ganon's Tower without boots, there's like a 5% chance they're required. Big keys on a torch you have to dash into. Wow, that's crazy. Took an hour longer because they couldn't find the Pegasus boots. That's funny. Hookshot was in Ganon's Tower. Nice. Yeah, because there's a lot of places where it can be gated before that. So we already talked about how, like, it's kind of wild that this works so well given that the developers didn't intend it. But it's also kind of wild that it works so well given that the team that made the randomizer made very minimal playability changes, right? So, okay, so what have they changed? They made it so that you have an inherent shovel during the shovel minigame. They made it so that the lantern is inherent in Hyrule Castle when you're escaping with Zelda. Is there anything else like that? The bug saving and quitting from the dark world of Pearl. That was in the original game. Kitty. RNG gets fixed and baked into the seed. Okay. For like the chess game from before, where you're guaranteed to get the right one. Oh, really? Blue balls. Is blue balls set to be optimal for a speedrunner, or it depends on the seed? Oh, it's set up so that two people racing each other get the same pattern, so someone doesn't win just because they got better blue balls. That's cool. So if I had turned on the thing that randomizes the placement of objects that are under tiles, does it just randomize them within that room, or also throughout the dungeon itself? I didn't turn that on because I thought it might be obnoxious. Within the dungeon. Now, what a suspiciously empty room. I really like that twist as a kid. Wish I had both the bug net and the magic powder. I'm so used to having them at this stage of the game. If I get the bug net from a random chest in here, I won't even be mad. This blue heals both, right? Yeah. This green is the color of your magic bar. Bow and boots. Bet you'd like to have more bombs. I wonder if they're ever going to change, like, switch behaviors. Is it going to be possible to not need the bow? Interesting. Eating in sour letter requires use of a super finicky glitch. This is another thing I was stuck on as a kid. I didn't know that you could pick up and throw bombs. I don't think the game ever makes you do that. Just like it never makes you throw or pull statues until pretty late. It might just be that the Skull Woods dungeon is the only time it does. I love that though, it's such a cool way to fight the final boss. I'm pretty sure these are all fake, but may as well check everything now, right? You push it, but I don't think you have to pull it. Oh no, you're right. You get. That's where I got stuck too. To get to the room where you have to shoot the arrow into the statue's eye. Yeah, I think you have to pull a statue to get through there, or to get it on the button. I'm trying to remember if it's solvable without pulling, though. Oh, shit. I've got the lights in the room, okay. It's kind of interesting that they have mechanics ideas like that occur late in the game, though. Where it's like, technically it's been possible to throw bombs this whole time, but you're not going to see a situation where you need to do it until this late. Like, I feel like a lot of games suffer the problem where they have an idea and they're like, they deploy it as soon as you get the item and then they kind of forget about it. Like pointing your hand at stuff and bloodstained. Like, it seemed like that was going to be a really core mechanic with the right stick, and I was like, oh, happens like one other time and they're like, shit, we forgot to use this. Let's bring it back. Hey, it's the princess. This is fine. A whole dedicated section of the tutorial. I think that happens once outside the tutorial, right? Okay, so I don't have the hammer yet, so let me make a note. Big chest, hammer required, Thieves' Den dungeon. Just the stuff in areas I've already explored that wouldn't be obvious to go back and check. I'm trying to mark. The way you use the cane in Turtle Rock is silly. That big chest, you can get screwed in a race because you have to go really far to get the hammer, basically. Makes sense. Well, let's fight blind. I think I can. I don't have any healing though, so I might die. Probably gonna die. New light bulb invented? Enlighten me. I also have a worse sword than I usually have at this stage in the game. Usually as soon as I can, I get out and I get that sword upgrade. Oh yeah, I'm super dead. Doesn't he hate bees, though? I feel like that was a thing. It's like one of the first chests I opened. I never actually had an opportunity to use bees against him because it didn't matter. I don't know if the bee can actually hurt him, though. Ah! He always takes 9 hits to kill no matter what sword you have? Interesting. I did not know that. This boss event full of hell. Try him again. This game has vanilla rules for your save file, right? Like if you save and quit, that counts as one. It counts as like a death, basically. The way the later games treat deaths. Not that it matters, but it's a deterministic strat for blind. I'm trying to remember where I heard about him not liking bees. Basically, never need to do that. It would have been kind of hype if I had won with that, but oh well. Follows a script. So I don't know if that actually counts as a damaging hit when you knock his head off like that. I think I always just beat him through just raw brute force. Just having so many hit points and so many fairies that I just like go in and burn him down really fast. Really glad I got the shield. That's pretty funny. Hey, a red pendant. I love it. This is so good. This is super fun. Andrea can finally dump her sub-block bank on this. Maybe we'll just do this on a weekend sometime. The main reason I wasn't doing it, it was just like the hassle of like figuring out how to get it set up, and it was like the smallest hassle ever. That website is incredibly polished. Okay, and now that I have the flippers, there's a lot of stuff I can do. I can get the invisibility cape, which once I have the Pegasus boots will let me get stuff in the light world. Missed a small chest near the start, thanks. The one on the bottom of the ground in the first few screens, or what? I thought I got this one. This one down here? Yeah, I thought I hit that one. I remember thinking about it the whole time it was down here, and then I questioned myself for a second. I was like, no, I think I got it. Thank you. wonder why I didn't walk that way. Maybe I checked the door and thought that I had checked it already. No, I appreciate it anyway. It could have been something important. So, because of the way the dungeons are set up, is it likely that the boss is going to drop, like, the map with the compass? Hey, thanks for the host, Shock Ninja. Appreciate that. Okay. Sora's domain. Opening the... I think I'd have asked this question. Opening the path to the... where you have the spike dungeon, that requires Pegasus boots, right? You cannot push that grave open, which is why it's janky to do it with the mirror early, because you have to like get exactly the right distance away. Yeah. Okay, I have new stuff to do up here. I'm just gonna check real quick. Other than grab the cape. Crave needs boots. Do all of these Zora teleports, are they one-to-one, or when you go in one, does it take you to a random location? It's possible to determine if there are no more items left, even if there are chests left. Oh, interesting. Okay, thanks. Okay, that might be important. Stupid ice dungeon. My most hated dungeon in this game. Oh, I see. Instead of doing the little mini-game, you could just get them directly. Is this a change they made for the randomizer? Speedrunners appreciate it, probably. That's kind of elegant. Still no bug catching net. Is it the same cost as it is in vanilla? It's just you just buy it directly instead of walking in and out of the room repeatedly? Hey kitties, are you hungry? Yo, I'm not running a charity here. I didn't realize I was broke. Okay. Most hated dungeon, which maybe I'm gonna luck out, because maybe I need the fire rod to progress past the first couple rooms. I don't know if these dudes... Oh, wait. No! Don't work! Don't work! Don't work! God damn it. The randomizer makes you feel really cool feels. Oh, the hint tile says something? Okay. I'm so used to like ignoring that those exist. And it's like seeing like Pets 3 for the DS on the shelf at Walmart. I just don't even see it. It doesn't enter my vision. Candy is dandy, but liquor is quicker. I can use Bombos to come in here. It's interesting though that like little interactions like that exist that allow the game to be more random. Like if you could only use the fire rod, I feel like that would be less interesting for the randomizer, right? It's the fact that there are a couple tasks that have multiple solutions that makes it as interesting as it is. But what I was saying earlier, that like the devs have done minimal like quality of life changes to the game itself, other than just making sure that the algorithm is beatable. Like, I feel like it's got to be comparable to Diablo 1, when the creator of Diablo 1 accidentally invented the action RPG by making a turn-based game and then setting the turn duration to 0 seconds, and he just clicked and his character went over and hit the thing and it died, and it was just awesome automatically, like independent of his intent. I think they wanted this to be cool, but I doubt that, like, I expected it as much cooler than they expected it to be when they put it together, if that makes sense. There's a lot more nuance to it. Okay, that's a one-way shortcut. Does not open from this side. I imagine there are plenty of games that you could write an equally competent randomizer for that would not be as awesome as this. Just because the way the game works isn't interesting enough, you know? I don't know how good the Dark Souls randomizer is. I think that's mostly item locations, so it makes you go to obscure parts of the map. The Ocarina of Time randomizer is very cool too. Right on. I just love this game so much, so I'm very biased. A unique item held by someone friendly. Oh. Interesting. Install foes. Covenant of Artorias is the ice rod, because it's not needed for anything other than getting down there, and so it could spawn basically anywhere in the game. I thought about doing this one with swords included, but like you have to be willing to use like blocks and bushes and stuff to win. But I imagine it can get tedious if you miss and have to leave the room and come back to beat something. It was a fake out. Oh, you think you're gonna have to switch it, because that's what we did in previous dungeons. A win condition? What's that? Like, what win condition did they add? Fancy bomb jump, just skip it basically. It's a hassle. Excuse me. One of these rooms has a block you have to push while you're on ice. I remember it being super annoying. I don't think it's this one. That's a cool concept with fix. I know there's a version of the randomizer that you can like use a Twitch plugin so that viewers can determine the stuff that you're running into. I thought about doing that, but I figured for my first randomizer I should start a little bit more vanilla. So that was kind of a cool secret, but I don't have the big key, do I? Oop. Triforce on mode. Distributes a certain number of Triforce pieces. When you find them, you just win. So, I think this is the area where you can get screwed up if you don't have the Cane of Samaria. And you use your small keys stupidly. So it sort of tests your knowledge of the complete game, the Triforce piece one. Guessing there's movement tech shenanigans to skip this room too, because it is a pain in the ass walking on Luigi goop. Didn't tell our intended solution to Ice Palace. Yeah, brutal ice physics is a good way to put it. What's the name of the penguin enemies? Have they shown up in any sequels? Maybe in like the Oracle games or something. I don't think there's been a 3D version of the penguins though, right? Pen gators. Should use them in D&D at some point. I did a D&D game where all of my monsters were Zelda monsters, and I just gave them Zelda-flavored abilities. Like I had an Igor that turned to stone temporarily. Swamp Palace, Big Key, and a piece of heart is in western wing of Swamp Palace. Okay, so they do have the hint tiles, what you were saying. I thought it had to do with like you had to like push the blocks in the room above it down. So there was some shenanigans with how you set up the red and blue switches up to that point. If I've used all the monster manual, no, that's cool though. Fake bombable wall, rude. Ooh. That sounds great. I just used a fourth edition, got to a point eventually. Oh crap, I forgot about this. This is a pretty important door too. 4th edition, which I used for D&D, got to a point where it was so streamlined. Hammer to pull tongue, ice dungeon. What room is this? I'm not gonna remember. B2, east side. It got so streamlined in the monster design that they joked that you could get monster manual on a business card. Basically, like, all of the stats for every monster were very predictable based on whatever their role was. So I just used the monster manual on a business card and then just invent abilities for everything out of whole cloth. Usually ripping off or inspired by some video game. Like I did a guard scorpion boss from Final Fantasy VII that does the whole thing where his tail goes up. The whelp from Final Fantasy VI where you can't attack it with lightning, or you have to attack it with lightning at a certain time and not at another time. Okay, so I might be done in here for now, since I can't get through that room without the hammer. I would very much like the hammer. Now wait a minute. I thought this door was supposed to open when I killed all the enemies. Is there another way out of here? I guess dungeons can lock you out because you can always use the magic mirror to get to the entrance, right? Stuck without the hammer. Oops. I'm trying to think like where else I haven't been. I don't think I can do B3. I think that's it for now. I don't think there's any obvious chests that I skipped in the Ice Palace. I did. Do you happen to have a guess of where? It's something I don't want to leave to future me, so I don't mind a tip. I guess there's probably more to do in the ice room with the penguins. I think I went straight up and to the right, and I could have gone left. Above the big chest. Oh, really? I don't know if I ever knew that. Does it just drop rupees in the base game or something? The wall ice guys, right? That you have to wait for them to spawn. It's like, I know I went off screen, but I'm still gonna finish the animation, don't you worry. Yeah, so the solution, the intended solution, involves walking all the way around the entire dungeon so that you can make it to the room. I'll point out the room when we get to it. I think it's the room that's east of the big key. So you can make it to the room that's east of the big key with a different colored switch set so that you can push the blocks down so you can set the block on the button. But the cheese is to use the Cane of Samaria to hold the button down. That was the solution that I had to memorize and like burn it in my brain as a kid because I always got stuck here. Even after playing the game several times, it's like the water temple in to bomb jump in this room. Yeah, I should. I guess I'll practice it. I don't know how it works though. I don't have the health to try it. I'm guessing that's how most speedrunners do it. Do you think that's the sort of tech they would expect from me? Because I'm guessing it's possible to do that with the Pegasus boots. But it would check if I had the Pegasus boots before it made me do that in that room, right? Bomb jumping's never expected. Okay. Is it also possible to make that via the Pegasus boots bouncing? Oh yeah, this bullshit room. Okay, so I think there's a door down here that I didn't scope. Unless that's a one-way. No, I thought it was a button. Yeah. Ice physics. Bomb jump is useful tech. That was the door that I didn't think I went in, but I didn't realize it just connected to a room I'd already been to. It's to fake you out, and then you fall, and you're like, huh, how do I get to that big chest? Ow. Oh wait, I thought this led to... Okay, so I'm stuck again, aren't I? Shoot, I don't remember how I actually got into the room where I bombed it. Crap. Every time I have to spend another second in the goddamn ice dungeon. The room I've been bailing from is the one that requires the hammer so you can pull on the tongue so you can open the door. But I think I'm just stuck there because I don't have the hammer. Oh yeah, that was a fake one. I know the one you're talking about. I think so, that's the kind of thing I'm trying to pay attention for. Ow. So I don't think I'm going to use the bomb tech there. So I'm interested in seeing the algorithm play out as it's intended. So if there's like a really interesting item that's accessible via the bomb tech, I kind of want to know how the game gates it with the intended items, if that makes sense. Alright, third time's the charm. Don't go in the stupid room. Don't go up in the long ice room with the penguins, or you're gonna have a bad time. Is there a generally agreed upon, like, most useful item in the entire game that all runners want to get as early as possible? A hammer. Really? Man, I don't even really think about the hammer when I think about this game. It's such an incidental item. I think another reason why this randomizer is so fun is because later on, Nintendo kind of took the approach of like doing these discrete dungeons where you pretty much only ever use the item that you discover in the dungeon to solve it. Very rarely does it make you bust out the bow and arrow like 3 dungeons later. I'm sure Ocarina of Time is the same way because they'll often make you reuse a lot of your toolkit. I realize how critical the hammer is until you play Randomizer, because it gates us so much. I see. Can I push this block, or am I thinking of a different block in a room with the Mario fire bar and ice on the floor? I must be thinking of something else. Only weapon is a bomb. Oh jeez. I guess I must not have pulled the other guy out of the wall. Interesting. Because I just never walked close enough to the right side to spawn the chests. Well, it was worth checking. It could have been something really important. Thank you, Goomba. Alright. Living my life. Making choices. Let's still go get the cape. Trying to think of other chests that are behind, gated behind Zora's flippers. Do I have everything for Dungeon 2 now? I have the hook shot, I have the flippers. Was there something else I needed in there? The hammer, maybe? Hammer time is what she wants to speedrunner. Shit! Let me get the hammer. Oh, I'm sorry, the second Dark World dungeon. One chest and Swamp Palace without it. Dang, I honestly had no idea that it was that critical. That's crazy. Ooh, now I'm interested, like... What does the Blessing Fairy give you? Don't tell me, I'll find out here in a second. Flute would be nice. First one has to have a key. Okay. Ha! Yay! That opens a lot of shit. Lack of menu there is interesting. Bottle filled, money saved. So, okay. Normally there's 2 things you can throw in here for an upgrade, so it replaces that with 2 chests. Is that how they did the Waterfall Fairy? And then I didn't know you could throw an empty bottle at her and get a green potion. But I want those since I'm not going to be getting the bugs in anytime soon. So, okay. Let me see if I can phrase this question without sounding stupid. How do I put this? In the ice dungeon, we got to a point where the door closed behind us because we didn't have the hammer, and the only way to escape was by using the mirror. Does the game know that that's a potential softlock location and will not let you get into the ice dungeon at all until you have the mirror because of that? Or are you prevented from entering the ice dungeon in general without the mirror? It's up and around, actually. Can force you to save and quit out. Okay. That's probably good, I guess, because it allows for more interesting setups. I think it does need the mirror, though. I think you're right, because I think you need to be able to escape the dungeon itself once you get outside. No, because you can save and quit out. Because you go to the island, and then you pick up the big rock. When you beat it, you can't leave either. Because once you get out, you need to have the mirror to get back to the light world to get off the island. Because you can save and quit to exit, I think, right? Alright, so the cape... The only logic trigger for the cape, I assume, is the Spike Cave, right? And it shares it with the Cane of Birna. No other chests in the game depend on it. And now that I have the lantern, though, that's opened up a ton of the game. So let me go do that now. It seems like such a boring upgrade, but I can go do the first dungeon, for example. Caves of Skullwoods. Right, and it mentions right when you boot up the game, use cape to pass the barrier. In fact, I can probably go do Aghanim now as well, because I've got the lantern finally. Actually, I think I could do everything in the Light World. I have all the Light World items now, so... Well, everything in the Light World before you unlock the Dark World. Some stuff that you have to come back later with items from the Dark World to get, but... Yeah, I have the goal set as all dungeons, so I don't want to skip any content. You can type !seed if you'd like to see the specific rules I picked. Mostly pretty standard other than that one. That's the Waterfall Fairy. It's pretty funny. So Waterfall Fairy gives you the magic boomerang, and what's the other thing she upgrades? It's not the shield, right? I thought she could upgrade your shield, though. It's been a while. Oh, and they're counting the shield as a pickup. So, there are multiple places where you can get a shield up. Right, there's several places where you can replace your level 1 shield. A couple places where you can get the level 2 shield. How does the logic process that? Does it just add more possibilities than are necessary? Like the base game does, basically? That's the big key. Three shield items in the item pool. Are shops basically ignored in that calculus? Right. I guess those are the only extra instances of shields that I know of, are the ones that appear from shops. This Magus sprite kit looks really good, other than Link's goofy head bob. Right. If they cannot block or impact progress at all. Sure. Okay, I still had a question relevant to that. I'm trying to phrase it right. Hooray, lantern! I can see. This changes everything. Does the fact that the base game allows you to obtain shields in multiple places change the algorithm so that there's a little bit of leeway that you have multiple chances to get the same item, or that it's easier to get the mirror shield than it might be to get any other random item in the entire game? Or does it treat the shields as just being, you know, 3 basic placements? You need either the mirror shield, cape, or cane apparently. I didn't know cape and cane worked on the eye lasers. Hey, I use this room for a boss room in D&D. Actually, it's some pretty cool line of sight stuff with the walls here. Shields don't get special treatment. Okay. How does it process the... How does it process the small shield as a separate item, though? Because, like, your uncle gives you both of them, right? That's one of the only points in the game where you're just given 2 items at one pickup point. Maybe it just, like, deletes a single rupee pickup to make room for the shield or something. You don't have to light all the torches with the lantern until the second dungeon, so I was super confused by that and stuck for a while. As a kid. That was before, like, Link to the Past and future Zeldas established the light all the torches common puzzle solution, where you suspect that all the time whenever you see braziers. Removes a red rupee from the base item pool. Okay. And your uncle, if you do a swordless mode, is just treated as any other, like, item source. He could give you anything. How far can you get in this game before you must have a sword? Oh, he always gives you a weapon, so he'll give you like a bomb, something that does damage. Cut the curtain to get items through. It's interesting with the puzzle design space. Okay, so I cannot get past him without the bow and arrow. There is no other item in the game that can kill him. Okay, well, I'm glad I have the mirror, which you would never need in this dungeon. Okay, so not exactly right that I have everything in the light world. Dungeon number 1, need arrows to pass red Igor. Okay. Oh yeah, dungeon number 2 requires the book. Man, I'm sitting over here thinking I got everything. I don't have shit. Yeah. I was super in when I figured out cutting the curtains in Zelda 1, I was so proud and happy. That's a core memory for me for some reason. Okay, so I can't do the desert. I can do Agnim. I can maybe get to Death Mountain. So we'll go check out Death Mountain because there's a bunch of stuff up there. Oh, you need a sword to cast the medallions. Really? Is that a decision by the devs? Like the Randomizer devs? Or is that in the vanilla game? No, I guess it would have to be because in the vanilla game you can not have your sword because you can have the blacksmiths working on it, right? So they'd have to resolve what happens if you try to cast a spell while the blacksmiths are working on it. That's crazy. I guess it makes sense. Yeah, you're holding the sword up. Very cool. I'm glad they got to bring this song back, because it's almost too dope to blow on the introductory dungeon. You guys are annoying. See the face in this room? It's got this little nose. Looks like a content Buddha. Yeah, I love this part of the game. This is where it blows your mind, because it's like... Oh my god, there's more game? Oh my god, there's significantly more game? Oh, you know, I'm trying to remember. There might actually be a part in here that I need the boots for. I might need to, like, run into a statue to knock a key down or some stupid shit like that. We'll see. It's the kind of stuff you just don't notice, like... Whenever it's a progression item that you're already guaranteed to have, you probably don't even remember that you needed it. Until you do the randomizer. It seems like the hammer is the king of that. I'm guessing if you're into running this, you just kind of memorize what every dungeon needs at minimum to be attemptable. Or clearable, I should say. Okay, so Cape will also pass the barrier here. I was going to ask about that. Y'all said the final dungeon tower, but I didn't know I meant this one also. This game is really good. I think that if you really pressed me to list like my top 10 favorite games in no particular order, Link to the Past would easily get on the list. I don't like ranking games because so many games are apples and oranges and it's silly to compare them, but I think it's okay to be like, hey, what are like some of your favorite games of all time? The Moon Pearl is in Mini Moldorm Cave. Mini Moldorm Cave? Where I got it. What made it a Moldorm Cave? Oh, no worries, Gooba. If you're not sure about sharing something, you're welcome to type in hide first. It's a cave that has Moldorms in it. I guess I got it so long ago now I don't remember the enemy. Oh right, Moldorms are like the worm enemies. They're not the burrowing mini-boss from the second dungeon on the Light World. What's the name of that enemy? Unmolas. Don't they have Moldorms burrowing in later Zelda games, or am I making that up? I guess the one in Breath of the Wild is a Molduga, isn't it? Yeah, the Tower of Hera boss, right? The one that you have to not get knocked off into the pit during. To not get Belmonted. This is epic too. The music as you head in. Ganon's 7 notes. So cool. So I know about blue balls from GDQ, but I don't actually know what's frustrating about them. So he has a chance to create an orb that you can use to damage him, or he creates blue balls that just hurt you, that thing. And it's just complete RNG as to which one happens. And don't turn the monitor off. Ow, that's right, when he's in the dead center he is lightning. Is it possible to get no blue balls? Sorry, Ben keeps moving my mouse. But if I was racing the same seed with someone else, it would be the exact same number of blue balls to make it fair. That's cool. This is the first fight where they came up with deflecting projectiles with the Master Sword. I love that that just became a thing after this game. It's a cool way to make the Master Sword relevant, instead of just, oh, it's the sword that, it's the one sword that actually does damage. Oh, that scene's so cool. Sahasrahla calls you on your space cell phone. It's like, hey man, you still got a bunch of shit to do. It's not over yet. Gives you a full heal, and then Link's like, I got this. Okay, so I wasn't actually able to get here before because I didn't have the hammer. I don't think there was any cheese with the items that I had to get here other than defeating Aghanim, but I'm not sure. Just playing tennis. Oh, I could have swam here once I got the flippers. I see. I forgot about using the flippers in the Dark World. Remember most of the things at gates in the Light World. And there's like a few arbitrary dungeons that you have to complete in order for the big bomb to be purchasable, is that right? I'm guessing the Fat Fairy works the same as the Waterfall Fairy, where she just has a chest in the room. Well, maybe 2 chests, because you get the golden sword. I didn't know about the golden sword until I was an adult. Even though I played this game like dozens of times as a child, I never thought to throw the sword in there, or even to try throwing any of the items on the bottom right corner of the screen. Crystals 5 and 6. Oh, it's bound to the crystal. That's very interesting. I think Crystal 5 is in the light world in this one. That's really cool. The flute's your second progression item. So, like, is that the only way that shuffling the crystals is relevant? I get that shuffling the pendants is relevant because it changes when you're allowed to go get, you know, whatever's in the Master Sword slot. But none of the other crystals have triggers. I guess I have a new item available in the light world now that I defeated Aghanim. So, like, that would be a really trolly place for the ice rod to be, I suppose, in that tree. Have you met Woeful Ike? Any of the crystals have any flags associated with them? That's so interesting, like, I don't think the devs set those crystals specifically for any particular reason. Just, yeah, we want you to be pretty late in the game before you can get the gold sword. We'll just say you have to do these 2 dungeons, so then shuffling it has such an interesting effect. Toss rocks, toss items, toss cookies. Sorry, Japanese catfish god demon thing. Great. I kind of like that they removed the dialogue from the game. Like, it might be confusing if you've never played Link to the Past before. I feel like they should make that a setting in the randomizer. They could probably set it so that it has one script that kind of uses the original text for all the signs and stuff. Outside of the new hint tiles they added, they probably should change those every time. And then you can have the joke text and skip text for players that are familiar with the game. Ocarina of Time only checks for the Spirit and Shadow medallions, which are later a cutscene. Really? Does that cause issues in the vanilla game if you're like doing non-glitchy? I'm trying to think, like, is it just set up that you need the items from the other dungeons to be able to get those talismans? Oh, the medallions set flags. I love that stuff, man. Just how these, like, very arbitrary decisions. It happens a lot in speedrunning too, where like a route might exist because of a really arbitrary dev decision. Like, I think that's the way that Mario Brothers 1 is run, is because of an arbitrary way of handling the clock, or how long it takes for you to slide down the flagpole at the end of the level, right? Nocturne and Shadow cutscene checks for the earlier medallions, and you need Nocturne and Shadow to get into the temple without cheese. Does digging where this arrow is pointing produce a unique item? Oh shit, I was so immersed we hit time. No, I want to keep playing. Alright. Andrew has wanted me to put this on her subblock for a while. We just haven't found a Saturday or Sunday to do it, so maybe some weekend we'll hang out. I won't make any promises. If someone else wants to put this on their subblock, please don't hesitate to. I'd also be down to check out the Zelda / Super Metroid randomizer, since we beat Super Metroid on stream recently. I think that's appropriate to play now. Sadness. Let me save state. Hold on. So I pick up right here and I'll leave some notes to myself. Okay, so future Marstead, save slot 0, notes. Cape is in Zora's, you got the cape. Sword upgrades on the bookshelf, the big chest hammer is required in the Thieves' Den dungeon. You need the hammer to pull the tongue in the ice dungeon, which is annoying. You need arrows to pass the red Igor in dungeon number 1. You need the book to get into dungeon number 2 at all. You can probably do everything in dungeon number 3 in the Light World. In fact, you should totally go to Death Mountain, because there's going to be a bunch of stuff you can get there both in the Light and Dark Worlds. So do all that exploration next time. And then just kind of look around from there. Godspeed. You go ahead and make an in-game save too, just in case, because I'm paranoid. This has been super fun. DGRark, if you're watching this VOD on YouTube in the future, thank you very much for putting this on your sub block. I've been wanting to do it for a while. Kicked my butt to finally do it.